next series. So, what we are. We are what we are not, and we are a witness. These three questions we have been understanding the answers of these three questions from the teachings of the Eastern wisdom. What we are not. So we have been covering the first part, that we are not the three bodies. The greater the clarity that we have what we are not, I know with a clarity that neighbor house is not mine. Finished. And then I'm natural and casual. Same way, if I know I am not the physical body, I am not the subtle body, and I am not the causal body, then what happens? We find that the mind continues. It wants to know what we are, who we are. The moment we do not know that we are not the subtle body, causal body, and the physical body, we deprive ourselves of peace and happiness. Let me put it that way. How I deprive myself? When I do not know that I am not the physical body. You see a simple example, oh, brandy is so beautiful, I am not. I have deprived. Finish. We fall prey to limitations, ignorance, emotional dependence. We no longer remain creative. The intellect is veiled by the jealousy, hatred, anxiety, duality, and a conflict. Mind becomes the boss. Internally, we remain uncontrolled. And that uncontrolled person in me can become uncontrolled outside at any time. Are you getting it? Once you declare that you are none of these three bodies, not the physical, why? Because everyone is smart here as compared to me. So when I say me, I'm referring to the physical body. Can I maintain my awareness? Same way, the subtle body, the mind and intellect. Same way, causal body is creating a problem. You are becoming a cause of my uncontrolled emotion. No more, I am none of them. We fall prey to the limitations. And that results into ignorance, emotional dependence, and suffering. So that's what I have been saying. I'm not saying you already know that, Everything as it is in Eastern wisdom, the master have passed on this. So what is that? That I'm none of these three bodies. I'm picking up the last point from the causal body that needs to be understood, and that causes a lot of problem. Last time, do you remember that I told you the New Age movement has started by explaining differently the causal body? Sam, you are going to be a coach, so you should know, this New Age movement is different. No, it's not different. All have come from the Eastern wisdom. So what is important to know? That we are none of these three bodies. Who knows it? Who knows in me? My intellect. How it knows? By discernment and dispassion. So you see the root of this journey, that I should refine, I should shine, I should make the intellect sharp as possible. Do you still remember? We don't need IQ. We don't need IQ. We need a common sense. How many people who have a greater IQ committed suicide at the younger age? What point I'm making? Because mind lives in confusion. Habitually, it declares that I am these three bodies. The intellect should come with discernment and dispassion. So when we are, I'm just combining all the things, summarizing. So you have to think of it, contemplate and reflect. So when I start living in the power of discernment and dispassion, I recognize what is untruth that does not exist, what is truth that always exists, yesterday, today, tomorrow. Pure consciousness. That is real self. What Jerry and other people have presented last time while sharing their experiences. So then what is causing me the problem? It is false. That appears true, but it is not true. I've been repeating it. That is one definition of delusion. In India we say, everything is delusion. And then I start, even we claim that even the money is delusion. So give all the money to me if it is a delusion. Why you are keeping it? So sometimes when you overstretch without discernment, then you suffer. You continue to have a conflict in you. So from there, do you remember that with the power of discernment and dispassion, we understand that we have to use the righteous intellect in daily personal, professional, social activities. We have to use the dispassion intellect in order to get out of the uncontrolled emotions in me. And I have to use the love intellect to crush and destroy this ego. And then comes the real journey of the self-discovery. That is what we are talking about. And then what happens? Do you still remember the four powers of intellect? The power of faith. Once you contemplate and reflect every day, the time comes, you wake up in the morning and you have an awareness that I am something different from these three bodies. And that will give you such a deep sense of calmness and the peace. You are not depriving your mind from the peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We have been talking about causal body. So with that introduction, I repeat it, but now, where comes the confusion? Confusion comes, I want to know the causal body clearly. So is it a mystery? No, it is not a mystery. We simply say it is inexplicable. It cannot be explained. We know that it cannot be explained. How come? How come? Take an example of a tree. From where the tree manifested from the seed. So when the seed became the tree, the seed is gone. Now you cannot see the seed. So you can also put an argument and a reasoning that that causal body expresses itself into the subtle body, then into an action through the physical body. So now this causal body, if it is like a seed, then it should go. It is done. Once I practice meditation, once done, and it is done. So our master says that causal body is not like a seed. It cannot be finished so easily. It contains millions and billions of impressions. When I give a lesson, you are happy. That happiness first is experienced into the subtle body, and then the happiness becomes a seed in the causal body. Now you have millions of seeds of happiness that replaces unhappiness. Are you getting it? No, I know, I understand what the meditation is. Yes, you know, understand. So why didn't I see the stress on your face if you have understood? Through electricity, though electricity is the cause for various electrical appliances, they exist independent of electricity. I'm talking about causal body. Maybe in a previous session, your mind thought that this guy is crazy, so that created an impression in the subtle body, and it is accumulated in the causal body. Appliances do not perish without electricity. They carry out their intended functions only if the electricity is provided. Without electricity, they do not function. You know it, but they do not disintegrate. Body, physical body. I'm talking of the physical body and the causal body. They do not disintegrate. Therefore, the causal body cannot be explained with any kind of examples. This is the reason for it cannot be explained. So when many philosophers in the West, and especially in US, perhaps it started, I think you guys knows, maybe David, Jerry, and Brandy knows, the New Age movement started with that understanding, that knowledge of the causal body. In US and also in Europe. So what it means, we say clearly that this causal body has no parents and still it exists. We are going for a higher level of dispassion. You need an awareness. Do not start moving your mind in a different way. Somebody else. It is beginningless. It exists from the beginning. Causal body is without parents. Causal body contains positive and the negative. It contains millions of impressions that are positive. That is why you are listening to me. Your ego has nothing to do with it. You may claim that you are listening to me. No. Master says, no, it is not possible. Source, cause. We can give a rough example that, from where you are, I came from my parents. The earth is formed out of Big Bang. We always try to find out there is a cause of everything that exists. But for the causal body, no such thing can be attributed. Are you getting it? we know that the causal body cannot be explained. I'll give you a couple of more examples. It will blow your mind. When I'm making a statement, the moment you bypass the causal body, there is no difference between the individual self and the supreme self. What did I say? If this causal body does not exist, means you bypass, you transcend then. You discover that real self is nothing but the supreme self. That's why we don't talk about the God. We say, let us discover first who we are. What is the supreme self? All pervading, immanent, permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. It is because of the causal body I say that I am an individual self. Anastasia, don't be in a hurry. There is no instant solution. I know you ask beautiful questions, but learn step by step. Now, another question that you need to contemplate. How this individual self exists. And if the individual self really exists, then the supreme self is different from the real self. Right? Ashok, you are an engineer, so this is an inner engineering. This is not outer engineering. So that is why, if you remember, what is false that appears true, but it is not true. Do you still have a question? Oh, I am a real self, and that real self is the supreme self. When I transcend the three bodies, I realize that is where the awakening takes place. So a simple answer, let us solve this mystery. The false is the individual self I consider with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and causal body. I'm going slowly. When we take the false self and the real self as one, then only we say I am the body. When the false and the real self are taken together in the mind, false cannot be separate from the real. Did you understand it? No. Let us make an example, simple example. Again, I'm giving you a pot. This is made up of the steel. Is this flask or a pot is different from the steel? Answer is no. Okay, no, it is different from the steel. So let me take the steel out of it. Will this pot exist? That is why it is because of the causal body, subtle body, physical body. I take the false as a real. I take the individual consciousness as a real. And then I add millions of attributes. Now I'm still sweet 16, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, you see. all with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and the causal body. You remove all of them, what is left? There is no individual self. There is no false self. I'm the Supreme Self. But I identify myself with the physical body, with the causal body, with the subtle body. As long as we do it, we live in ignorance. Ignorance does not exist. Darkness does not exist. The individual self does not exist. Individual self exists, so to say, for transactional reality. You are David, I'm Girish, you are Barbara. We are having a virtual session. We find those divisions only for the sake of convenience. My house number is 730. For what it means? It means nothing. Can you put it 745? Can you put only 7? Yes. It's a matter of convenience. My name, my physical body, my causal body, it is always for the sake of convenience. I told you that the false in the real self, our mind takes the false in the real self is one. What it means? It means we see the body and we say, I am the body. False and the real are taken together in the mind. False means these three bodies cannot exist without the real self. That is the final argument our master gives. Think of it. Can the blueness exist without the sky? If the sky is real. Can the water exist without the mirage, without the sand or desert? So what is ignorance now? Why we want to know we are none of these three bodies? On the real self is a superimposition of the causal body, then the subtle body, and the physical body. Superimposition. You remove that superimposition, what is left is the real self, and what is the real self is permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. We are of the nature of real self. I concluded very fast, but then we will understand why we will have another deeper understanding with reference to our experiences. When we understand that we are none of the 5 sheaths, 5 coverings. So these 3 bodies are explained with in terms of the 5 bodies, 5 sheaths, 5 covering. It is something like the sun is here, you have a yellow film, red film, blue film, etc., etc. But it is only because of the real self. On the real self, all these 5 sheaths are superimposed. Why I said so? I seem to be mindful, so when I make a statement, so I explain why it feels so, why superimposed. Because of the superimposition, I feel that I enjoy eating pasta. I like it. It gives me happiness. That is why I experience my honey gives me happiness. I'm not so much rude. It doesn't mean that you simply go to honey and you say, you cannot give me happiness. I heard from the beer guy. No, that will not work. Some of my Indian students have done it a couple of years back. and it backfired them. And they came back again. They joined the session again. I don't want to name them. They are present here in this session. You see, that is the beauty of this journey. Step by step, we should remove that layer, ignorance. We should remove that superimposition. Because of that superimposition, it creates the likes and dislikes by default. Are you getting it? It just causes, why I like pasta, I don't have any reason. Why I like chicken, or why I like a particular dress, why I like yellow color, why I like red color. Why I like coffee, why I like or dislike tea. What is the reason? Causal body. It cannot be explained. It is beginningless. It has no parentage. It has no parentage. The message is clear that when you see any superimposition is depriving you peace and happiness, that is ignorance, and that causal body has no cause at all. It is beginningless. Leave there and start discovering peace and happiness. And now I'm doing it. And why you keep that impression that, you inserted me 10 years ago and I still remember? Causal body. Look at it. How light your mind becomes when you realize this. And you drop that sense of anxiety, reaction, and the impressions that you carry forward for so many years. Is it necessary to carry forward those impressions of likes and dislikes, reaction, anxiety, duality, conflict? You deprive yourself of peace and happiness. That understanding should be settled through regular contemplation, reflection, and the regular practice. One day what will happen? That now no more superimposition. When you see, for a matter of convenience, it is a flask, but it is tea. Do you see that? For a matter of convenience, this is Girish. Otherwise, you live into that state. Yeah, you're getting a little flash of what exactly is awakening. But mind it, I want to be very clear too. You all, when we talk of the New Age community or New Age movement in the West, they are not clear. And they start creating a lot of hallucinations. I don't want to go into it, otherwise their profession will be in danger. Oh, I will, clear this chakra, clear that chakra. So chakra in Hindi means confusion. You are confused. That is one meaning of this. Don't get confused. Don't create any sense of ignorance in you. Be 100% clear. You live into that awareness, you rise in consciousness. Forget about those chakras. Okay, let us start. See that how these works, these mantras, and then we'll talk about these how every step works. Eyes are closed, body is steady, and mind is facing within. Why the mind is facing within? You are aware, you are alert, you are attentive, and you are moving the mind to the real self. With that awareness, Sarvesam Swastir Bhavatu. I did it. We have been doing it almost for 2 years. Now take these mantras so deep into your mind that this mind prevents the causal body, the ignorance, to manifest you. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. You sing in your mind. One lady in Mesa is here, and she started singing while walking in the evening, in the morning with her dog. And she says it gives me so much of energy, lightness, calmness, peace, because you now don't deprive. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Why I do it? Because I'm extremely selfish. Why I'm selfish? Because I don't see any limitation caused by my so-called body and the subtle body and the causal body. There is only happiness in that state of consciousness. So do you see, in the practice, if you don't have the right knowledge and you keep repeating these mantras, nothing happens. Second, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Peace, space, infinite, all-pervading space everywhere. Am I look like the space? Yes. Who deprives me? These 3 bodies. When you say I am the body, then you say I am at my home. I am not with you. I am not at your home. And the mind continues to live with it. The moment you say I live at my home and you are at your home, then the mind says now compare the 2 homes. How the causal body sneaks into our day-to-day life. Do you see? And then the conflict comes. That is why this mantra, Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. My mind and the heart melts when I sing that. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Why I am saying we are already complete. Can you ever be complete with reference to the body? That you might be experiencing in day-to-day life. When you look yourself into the mirror, you say, my nose should have been like this. Physical body, because I'm the body. No, my eyes should have been like others. We deprive. Only you deprive a sense of completeness. Sarvesham Puranam Bhavatu. That is why we have been chanting, reciting these mantras. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. No worries. Mangalam Bhavatu. Auspiciousness. What is auspiciousness? When the knowledge and peace and completeness and happiness, they go together. They are essentially one. Consciousness manifests peace. Consciousness manifests completeness. So my every moment is auspiciousness. We are already concluded the meditation. But the causal body, until we identify ourselves consciously, habitually, impulsively, we have to continue the journey. We have not to leave it. And that is why we have added the step 2, become aware of the different layers. Physical body, the subtle body, and also the causal body. You see that what we are doing? Focus inside the chest, in the heart. You have to drop gently. Shanto hum. You start breathing, quick, short breath through both the nostrils and maintain the steadiness in the body. You see, a kind of discernment we are doing it. So the mind ultimately is educated. Start breathing, quick, short. Breathing through both the nostrils. And Shantoham, gentle dropping of Shantoham. You can see you have divided. The more division you can see clearly, you drop identification with the 3 bodies. That is why I gave this step. Pay attention, it's not only the breathing. It has to do deeper. And I told you that you are breathing about 80 to 100 breaths a minute. Quick, short. Why? The mind with its impulsive nature stops working. So in the New Age movement, they say, I'm cleansing your chakras. Don't be misguided by them. I'm sorry to say. Continue. If they can clean your chakras, better they should clean their chakras first. Check your causal body, maybe breaking, maybe stopping you. No, it's enough. I have done enough. No. You have done enough means you are there. Sometimes the mind will run after the other thoughts and you will forget the Shantoham. Sometimes the body starts moving. You see the many facets of the causal body that results into ignorance. Based on that, one great master says meditation is in a state of extraordinary awareness where none of these 3 bodies superimpose. Continue. Short, quick breath. Body is steady. 1 layer you are aware. Awareness is 1. Second layer is breathing, 80 to 100 breaths a minute. Third layer is dropping the Shantoham. All is happening in the field of awareness. It gives the mind a tremendous clarity. Continue. You feel the changes because of clarity in the mind. And now stop this. One thing to understand clearly, my friends, that because of the clarity, because that what is superimposed on the mind disappears. So there is a clarity. In the moment of clarity, you find calmness, you find relaxation. What the science says, no, you are breathing, quick, fast breathing, so oxygen concentration increases in the brain. Let them say. We agree to that. You see the understanding? Our understanding is that you bring the clarity to the mind. See that? That understanding should be there. That will help you to move deeper into meditation. Even if the science says oxygen concentration increased by 80%, 90%, 100%, you are dead. Overexposure of body to the oxygen kills the body. So we are not going there. You see that? And now start breathing deep, silent and slow. We will continue with the niyas. I know I have to change the practice, the steps, but wait. As you inhale, the mind moves inside the right arm, where the mind looks into the space and the intellect drops. Shantoham. You sing. We have been singing the songs of distress and anxiety and ignorance. Now is the time to sing Shantoham in knowledge. And as you exhale, the mind moves from the fingertips of the right arm inside into the space. You are aware of the space. You are aware of the singing Shantoham. You are aware of the deep silent slow breathing. You are aware of the stillness of the body. You see that? That's why I have been doing it. So now once we follow the 5 sheaths, we are none of these 5 sheaths, it becomes more and more clear. Why clarity? Clarity means that there is no fog in the mind, ignorance in the mind. So there is a knowledge. Only the knowledge awakens. And the science is right in a way that they refer to the objective reality. They want to explain everything with reference to the physical body, subtle body, and causal. It's okay. So we don't oppose. They are right. But our journey is little different. That needs to be understood. And now inside the left arm, you see there is only a shift of awareness. The mind realizes there's only a shift of awareness. The mind says, here is the left arm. The rest is same. Are we finding the common ground? Yes. And that is consciousness. Continue. Inside the left arm, the same way, Shantoham. My friends, Shantoham. We are moving to the next level. Oh, these are different layers, levels, but I could see in me. But common point is awareness. on which the mind superimposes. Names here is the left arm, and the space inside the left arm is different from the space inside the right arm. You see? And inside the right leg now. And we should accept the explanations by the science, what they talk of the meditation, because it helps us to understand little more about the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. But our goal is different. Understand clearly when the New Age movement says, no, science is different. No. It gives us the knowledge with reference to these three bodies. And we go a step beyond that. Enjoy that natural state. Body continues to move deeper and deeper into the state of stillness, motionless state. The breath becomes so soft and gentle. The mind continues to be absorbed into the space. Shantu hum inside the left leg. Because of the clarity in the knowledge, we understand. It is not necessary to do 100 postures to make the body still for 10 years. You see, that is part of ignorance, and this is the part of the knowledge. My friends, you see, even if I leave the session, your mind says, no, let me continue to stay and live into that state. If that happens, that is another level of clarity. My friends, do this practice every day and see. On a given day, you will discover that the mind wants to stay in that. Staying in that means you're bypassing the time. Now inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone, when you inhale, Shantu hum. I'll bring your attention to another simple principle that I have discussed many a times. there is an ascending and the descending process. On that basis, the Kundalini meditation is based. So what is descending? When you move the mind while inhaling from the crown of the head to the tailbone. And if you maintain the awareness, you will experience the fluid mass seems to descend down. It thrills, vibes in the entire body. It is the peace consciousness that flows into the body. So again, never mistake. And when you move the mind while exhaling, mind rises from the tailbone to the crown of the head. It is known as a personal effort, understanding the principle and continuation of the practice. So when the personal effort meets the higher consciousness, your effort drops, the state of effortlessness comes. That is the fundamental principle of this so-called, the Kundalini. Now leave this. Bring your awareness inside the heart triangle. Visualize the triangle pointing upward. So I'm drawing your attention to the first side is the knowledge. Second is the desire. So you should have an intense desire to know the real self. And then action part, third side, center of the triangle. The mind moves with the singing of Om, as if you are dropping the mind. You're taking the mind to the real self. Here it is. The mind seems to stop, you drop Shanti, and absorption is there. So its self-absorption is not forgetfulness. You live in an extraordinary awareness. And the moment the mind returns to any thought, feeling, impressions, return again to the triangle. You need not to do on a triangle and Om Shanti, or when you know by yourself, the mind is totally absorbed. It doesn't care even if the thoughts are there and the feeling is there. You discover another level of awareness which is separate from the awareness of the thoughts and the body and the so-called the physical body, the subtle body and the causal body. Triangle represents the knowledge, desire to know the real self. Only one desire is left. And then the action part, and the action is so soft. Triangle and the In the middle of the triangle, from there your awareness mind moves, singing But you're aware the mind seems to stop and you drop Shanti. Done. Your mind will say, I have found it. Eureka. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences and bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. How are you, Brandy?
Good morning. I'm great, thank you. My meditation was really clean. It was dark and peaceful, and I don't have a lot of other things to share about it.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. How are you, David and Jerry?
Yeah, I would say very similar to Brandy too. For me, it was very clean, pure, extremely fast. I'm pretty sure I heard every word you said, but it was very deep and pleasant.
Deep and pleasant. That's wonderful. That is, you sometimes you have nothing to share because you are already there in that state. You had a glimpse of it. Wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Yeah, it was really quiet and peaceful. My mind, when you talked about the ascending and descending flow, my mind went to a quote that says, "The river that flows within you also flows within me."
Yeah.
And that's kind of that pure consciousness that's the same in all of us.
Yeah. That's another way to express it. So what happens? You live in a simultaneous awareness, a pure consciousness inside, and you see that pure consciousness, then there is a superimposition of the mind and the physical body, then the relations, then the money, no money, and how are you, Sangeeta?
सर बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत पीसफुल था एकदम, आंखें खोलने का मन नहीं कर रहा.
Good. I'm good. Very good. So, very good. How are you, Sam?
Good. It was very, very peaceful and quiet and pleasant space.
Pleasant space. Beautiful. That's beautiful. How are you, Terry?
I'm calm. I was able to experience the whole thing, all the layers and the awareness, and I almost fell asleep, and then a lot of crazy things came up in the neons, so I thought, okay, just sweep them out.
Yes, yes. That is where the causal body works. Causal body manifests into the subtle, and then it brings lot of crazy stuff. Sometimes the hallucination, that is why I warned you. Now you have been attending these sessions, so don't get carried away by hallucinations of New Age movement. I will not speak too much.
They were very, it was like normal things, but weird. And like, why? Why am I seeing that image? So I said, must be stuff cleaning out.
Yes, that is the right approach. So when you use the word normal, that simply means because of millions of impressions, because of passing through many births in the death, this mind claims that ignorance is supernormal. But it is not.
Yeah.
But it is not.
Almost like dreams.
Yeah. I could see that. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I just felt completely absorbed and completely at peace.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. How are you, Rakesh?
When I was doing the nyasa, at that time, slowly the body melted down, and in fact, there was no body.
Yes.
Only there. And while I was doing the deep breathing, the breath became very, very short on its own.
Yeah.
So almost negligible breath was left. While the body was, there was nobody.
Nobody,
and
yes.
When I came to the triangle part, and when I dropped the Om Shanti in the center of the triangle, I can't explain what kind of depth I felt that I have gone into.
Yes.
You wanted us to come out of it, and
it was difficult to come out. Yes. So
and
what
the impact was even now.
Even now, that's good. One master explains that meditation doesn't succeed if you do not move from the surface living to the depth inside us. Don't start looking the depth from for the other person, including your honey. You see your depth inside, and that will work. That's in a lighter note, but that's really a good experience. How are you, Ashok? We have two more, yeah.
Quite peace and
as long as you will be with me, you'll be in peace, so don't worry.
अब छोड़ेंगे नहीं.
Now, but also continue to live with your honey, because she is also my student. He is saying that I will not leave you. No, don't leave your honey. So anyhow, so Vaibhav, how are you?
Sir, I'm good, sir. It was peaceful. Initially, there was some coughing, but after that, it was quite peaceful.
Yes. I'm also enjoying listening to everyone's experience. That's really good. How are you, Anastasia? Now, your turn.
Thank you. I'm fine. It was peaceful and deep, and the breathing was so light and short, and it seemed that I was ready to stop breathing at all. I didn't notice my breathing.
That's good. That's good. So it indicates, in all the cases who have explained, so it means the mind has left the second layer. That's what we are going to understand. What are the 5 sheaths? The physical sheath, then the energy sheath, then the mental sheath, mental covering, or you can say instead of a sheath, and then intellectual sheath, and ultimately the last one, it is known as a pleasure sheath. All the pleasures, so-called, we claim happiness that we experience in contact with the people, with the objects, with the event, with the situation outside, comes from the 5th sheath. And the 5th sheath is known as the sheath of ignorance. Why? Because happiness is not outside. That is all. Any question? Terry, do you have a question? You have many questions. Anastasia? Not today. Very good. We'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.